Hey, I'm Frank Mir, and this is the Suffer Training Center. Let's go inside and talk a little bit about Suffer. The legitimate fighter, martial artist, it's very hardcore compared to the weekend warrior. There's a conflict of interest, and a lot of gyms right now, they charge gym dues. And let's face it, a guy who's trying to be a professional fighter or an amateur fighter, those aren't going to be how you're going to turn the lights on as far as what you're going to make your money off of. So knowing that most of those gyms, they have to orientate themselves towards the weekend warrior. And that in itself is a conflict of interest as far as the hardcore fighters, hardcore martial artists that are coming through the gym to work out. You know, one thing people notice when they first come in here is I don't allow cameras. We're pretty skeptic about even if you pick up your cell phone and you're talking on it and the phone's pointing my direction, you'll get 2 or 3 guys asking you like, are you using the phone or are you videotaping? When we're training, there's no taping, which I think a lot of pros appreciate because, having film of you actually going out there and training, there's a reason why people try to do that. It's obviously beneficial to you. And on top of that, since I'm, not trying to make money itself off the gym, it's basically, an invite only. So I can have people in here with the same common interest about how they want to train. A lot of people are family individuals. We have our children kind of running around. I have an area for that for the kids. And because I'm not worried about someone being upset and canceling their gym dues, if you don't like it, well, you don't have to be here. In fact, the only reason you're here in the first place is because I invited you. And the other cool thing that really I enjoy about it is every time we get to really, every time someone comes in and goes, hey, Ricky Lundell, for example, was talking about the Atom wrestler, mounted to a wall. Well, now we're trying different equipment, we have our own ideas, and we get to, weld things together. We sit there, we'll talk about it, what we could use better would assist us in our training. So it's really a testing ground for new equipment. And then I have everybody from the amateur guys that we're building up that hopefully you'll see in the future of the higher up organizations, jumping on the equipment, testing it out, all the way up to some of the stars that people see, in the different top level organizations, UFC, Strikeforce, whatnot, coming through here and jumping on the equipment. So that way I get the feedback on like, well, hey, if you weld this a little bit lower, I appreciate it more. No, I don't think this is a good idea. I think this is great. I like it. And that way, before we ever put a product out there, it's not something that was just a good idea that we threw together. It's something that that we've been running through the gauntlet here with a bunch of other fighters, seeing what can work better and what doesn't work better. Right now we have obviously the apparel side of Suffer. I really do like a lot of the designs. I get to sit down and actually discuss with different people that are more artistically talented than I am. But I get to talk about some of the influences that I've had, some of the Japanese philosophies and, actually some Greek mythology, philosophies of Socrates and Plato and stuff that influences me on a daily basis that, that I'm reading about and researching, and then they're able to convey these ideas into some of the artwork and designs that we're having. The other cool thing and aspect of it that I actually enjoy the most is that everybody sits here and we complain about how things are in the world, or things that we would rather change and do to improve upon. And at the beginning, when I realized how the retail side of this and to keep costs low on my side, obviously as capitalism works, as exploitation of any area, is that the less that it costs me to produce something, the more money I get to make in the other end. And I see the benefit to that, where people financially can gain off of, outsourcing and getting their t-shirts from China, from India or whatnot. One thing though that I didn't agree with that is that I think it does, in the long run, still hurt, the American economy. And that's something obviously I'm going to be partial towards, or have, since I live here in the U.S. and I plan on my children continuing to live here and their children's children. That I saw that by keeping everything within the U.S. as far as where we get our material from, to the production of it, all the way to where it ends up in the final into the customer's hands. Does it cost us a little bit more money? Would it be more financially, intelligent maybe to have these things be purchased or produced overseas? Yeah, but then I have to figure out what was the cost to my, my morals or my own thought process there. But the way I looked at it is when I first realized, GSP was selling his walkout t-shirt. He made somewhere around 30,000 sales in the first couple weeks. So my thought was like, instead of letting greed become part of my thought process, was like, we'll make up money in the end and be able to use that financial gain towards producing other shirts, sponsoring fighters, which I think is something that is very important in our community. Without fighters being sponsored, they're working full-time jobs and they're not able to dedicate themselves fully to training. And to me, that's, not only does it hurt the fans watching the sport that you don't have the fighter at his best, but I mean, the other side of it is that you're walking in the octagon, or you're walking into a ring, or whatever company you're fighting for that day. People are kicking you in the head and trying to choke you. I think it's best that I want to make sure that both guys are as well conditioned and trained as possible, because of the less chance of injury. So I mean, that's pretty much I guess the plot or the theory or the thought process behind why I did the things that we're doing right now as far as how our apparel company's coming. Another cool thing is that I get to come up with ideas, and I've always, I have a traditional martial arts background, so I'm very much into the gi, and obviously, what it represents. But so what I'm doing now is trying to actually do gi shorts, which actually you can see this right now. We'll be putting them out here pretty soon on the Suffer website, but I'm going to make sure that I'm one of the first guys to fight with them first, so I don't want them to be sold too soon, so that in my next fight I can actually come out with them and sitting down with individuals and sitting there and telling them I have an idea and how to make it actually work to it's very practical and has advantages for me using them, and then also passing it on for the young guys up and coming or women who want to use these shorts to compete in. The magazine, how it relates with Suffer, basically it's a free way for us to get our message across. It's a media to go out there and to be able to convey our thoughts and advertise our fighters, our different ideas that we have about the world of martial arts, different products and our clothing line. And really, basically, it was a great idea, because the way we worked it out is it doesn't really come off of the Suffer company itself. We don't have to actually pay for it. There's different advertising agencies that we work with that they're part of it as far as the magazine's concerned, and they they actually front up the bill on taking care of producing the magazine. And also too, when I go to an autograph signing, and the different people that I work with and the different fighters, when I sign this compared to signing an autograph card, it's just a little bit more substantial to a fan. And plus, whenever I go out there and I look at some of the costs and benefits to doing a commercial or whatnot, it's 30 seconds, people see it. But whereas if you're part of Suffer and you're helping us out and part of the company and you're in the magazine, I sign it, fans keep it, they're definitely going to keep that for a lot longer of a time. And that actually, as it makes sense, is more beneficial to everybody.